In a world ruled by kings and empires, one man rose from humble beginnings to lead a revolution that would change history forever. This is the story of George Washington, the man who built a nation. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia. He grew up on a quiet plantation, guided by his mother, Mary Ball Washington. His father died when George was just 11 years old. But even then, the boy showed strength and determination beyond his years. You've probably heard the famous story about young George chopping down his father's cherry tree and saying, "I cannot tell a lie." Whether true or not, that story captured the honesty and character that defined his life. As a young man, George worked as a surveyor, exploring the wild frontiers of Virginia, but adventure and destiny called him to war. He joined the Virginia militia during the French and Indian War. There, Washington proved his courage and leadership, even when surrounded by chaos and defeat. He learned, adapted, and grew stronger. Those lessons would one day help him lead a revolution. By the 1770s, the colonies were restless. The British imposed unfair taxes and ignored their cries for freedom. Washington stood with the Patriots. He believed that liberty was worth fighting for. In 1775, he was chosen to command the Continental Army, a force of farmers, tradesmen, and dreamers. Facing the most powerful empire in the world, they were outnumbered, outgunned, but not without hope. The winter at Valley Forge was brutal. Cold winds cut through the camp. Men starved, froze, and prayed for survival. Yet Washington stayed with them, sharing their suffering and giving them courage when all seemed lost. Through endurance, unity, and faith, they held on. And when spring came, they fought harder than ever. In 1781, at Yorktown, Washington's army surrounded the British. Cannon fire thundered across the fields, and then it was over. The British surrendered. America was free. The impossible had become real. After the war, Washington returned home to Mount Vernon. But the young nation needed a leader. And once again, the people turned to him. In 1789, George Washington became the first president of the United States. Elected unanimously, he guided the fragile new nation with wisdom and humility. He built a government of the people, not of kings. And when his time was done, he stepped away from power, peacefully, setting a standard for all who would follow. In 1799, George Washington passed away at his beloved home, Mount Vernon. The nation mourned its greatest leader. Even his former enemies honored him. He had no crown, no throne, no riches, only honor, courage, and an unshakable belief in freedom. He led not for glory, but for liberty. He was the soldier who became a statesman and the man who built a nation. He was George Washington, the father of his country. If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe and share this video to keep history alive.